Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. Hosted by Brian Poduska. And sponsored by Real Property Management Focus. Certainty Home Lending. Donovan Creative Agency. Stewart Title. The Frisco Fighters Arena Football Team. Total Care. PBJ Mortgage. And by Team Watson Redeemers. And Bethany Rowan with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco.
To serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Frisco starts now.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco show. You are watching episode number 21 of our show here in Frisco, Texas. We are part of the Community Difference series of shows, and what that is, if you have not seen us before, we are putting spotlights on community leaders, entrepreneurs, Frisco ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and we are Sports City USA, so sports leadership. One of our sponsors is the Frisco Fighters, so obviously we have that sports connection specific to our show and part of the overall difference. So welcome to the show. What we also do is talk about a business topic of the month. The month of April, we're coming to a close here, so this is going to be our last week talking about the topic of the month, and that is the role of innovation and creativity in driving growth and success for local businesses. So we've had a lot of great insights so far this month. I'm looking forward to hearing more this episode with our guests. And on that note, hey, why don't we bring everybody in line and let's introduce our guests for this week and our co-hosts, Ethan and Debbie. How are you guys? Good to see you again.
Good. How are you?
Great.
And welcome to our guests this week, Julia and Kerri. Good to see you ladies this week. How are you?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
Fantastic. So thank you all for joining us. I'm going to kick it over to our co-hosts and let them introduce themselves and then introduce our guests. And we'll just do a quick intro up front. And then later on in the show, we're going to go a little bit or a lot deeper on, who you guys are and what you're all about, what inspired you to get involved in the organizations that you're involved in. So with that, I'm going to go ladies first on the co-host side. Debbie, it's all yours.
Okay. Well, I'm Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers, where we strive to empower individuals addressing issues of financial illiteracy cancer that we deal with today, while fostering financial literacy. And through our comprehensive solutions, we aim to redeem lives and make a meaningful impact. My guest today, I'm so excited. I've got to know this young lady very well. Julia Fraser. She is Mrs. Frisco America. She actually will be representing Frisco next month when she competes, and we know then she's going to actually go on to represent us in Las Vegas. I know we're gonna will that. So she's also the co-founder of OneNeighbor. So I'm so grateful that she's here today, and can't wait for you guys to learn more about her. Julia, take it away. Introduce yourself.
Oh, I guess I can. Well, everybody, thank you so much for having me today. I love nothing more than to represent my city of Frisco. Like I said to Debbie a couple days ago, Frisco is the city that actually built me. It broke me, and then it built me back up again. And I would love to dive into that later. But I didn't really think that going into pageantry was going to be something that was my cup of tea. But you'll come to learn about my platform that pageantry is a women-led industry, and that's exactly what I'm trying to advocate for, is for all of our women. So representing Frisco and doing that is my dream.
Well, that's awesome. And I have to say, I've been part of the difference since its inception, over 4 years ago. So I've been part of a lot of shows. We are in episode 21 of the Frisco show. This is the first time we've had a guest or anybody on the show who's actually wearing a crown of royalty of whatever city that they're in. So you have achieved a first, Julia. So thank you for being on the show today. Great to have you. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Ethan. Why don't you let everybody know who you are, or remind everybody, Ethan, and then I'd like you to introduce your guest.
Absolutely. My name is Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency. We offer social media marketing, graphic design, video editing, videography, and social media consulting. My guest today is Kerri Steele, the founder of the charity Little Hearts of Hope. And yeah, Kerri, take it away.
Thank you so much for the invitation to be here and to share more about us. I am the founder and the executive director of Little Hearts of Hope. We are a nonprofit that supports children who have a parent or a sibling that's been diagnosed with cancer. We teach them healthy coping skills through creative expression, which is play and art-based, as a way to handle the difficulty of their life at that time. And I have a cottage bakery. I'm the king cake lady of Frisco, so I make gourmet king cakes. I'm one of those New Orleans transplants that came here after Katrina and never went back home. And I'm also publishing my first children's book that will be out hopefully next month.
Wow, you're a little busy there, Kerri.
Exactly.
Never a dull moment. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, as I mentioned, we're going to go a little bit deeper into you guys a little bit later in the show. So I look forward to hearing those stories from multiple different angles. It sounds like that's fantastic. Until then, though, we do have sponsors. We got to give them a little bit of love. So right now, we're going to cut to commercial, give our sponsors a little bit of love, and we'll be right back.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus. Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending. Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers. Kendra Kennedy with Stewart Title. Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency. Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage. Chance Post with Total Care ER and Total Care Networking. Matt England, Director of Corporate Partnerships, and Andre Coles, head coach of the Frisco Fighters Arena football team. And by Bethany Rowan, Realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Frisco?
As you heard in the sounder, this is our segment where we talk about what's going on in Frisco. So this isn't the stuff that you're just going to find on the internet. Hopefully, we've got some good stuff that you may not have seen yet. So with that, I'm going to open it up to our co-hosts. I want you guys to let everybody know what's up Frisco. Debbie, what do you have for us this week?
Yeah, so this weekend, of course, we have sports. And the FC Dallas has a game with Houston, which is always a rival. Anytime you get Dallas and Houston coming in. But the great thing is I'm also part of a nonprofit Elks Club that helps veterans, being that my husband's a veteran. So anyone goes to the game, you need to stop on by. Everything bigger than Texas, which you can get a 16-inch taco if you like, and huge things. Stop by. That's our fundraiser that we do, but the game is going to be huge. Yes, it's like they have to put it in a pizza box. That's how big it is.
On my screen, 16 inches.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So stop by, support the Elks Club, but also go out and watch some great soccer. What I also hear, there's a drone, some kind of drone activity afterwards, so it'll be great for kids too. And I know there's several other things, but I'm going to let Julia share the one because I know she's going to be at another thing on Saturday too. So that's 7:30 on Saturday.
Very cool. Love it. Julia, what you got?
Well, this Saturday, we're hosting Frisco Uncorked on Main Street. So there is going to be a ton of vendors. It's going to be food and wine tasting from a bunch of different local food trucks or restaurants and eateries, that kind of thing. One specifically being my favorite, Choloso Mexican Bistro. I cannot talk about them enough. In my article with Frisco Enterprise, I did highlight them because I truly am addicted to that restaurant. If you ever get the chance to stop by, it will change your life. But we'll be there this Saturday, both me and my partner, Osmina Pirani. She is Miss Frisco. She's my best friend and my partner in all of this. And we're going to be advocating for our charity that we're both trying to advocate for through this pageant system, which is Victoria's Voice, which advocates for opioid addiction.
Okay, that's fantastic. Love that. Yeah, the Uncorked event is that's always a fun one. And yeah, Main Street, we have a lot of partners that we brought on the show, who have businesses on Main Street. So yeah, go down there, check it out. That's a fun event. Love that you guys are doing it for a great cause too, fundraising for a great cause. So thank you for that, Julia. That's fantastic. Ethan, what do you have for us? You got anything?
This week, I actually have an networking event coming up on Tuesday for all my business owners and entrepreneurs. It's called the Frisco Diversity Leadership Council. It's at Rotate Bar and Kitchen from 6 to 8 p.m. on April 30th. As you know, my previous guest, Kevin Westerfield, he's one of the head chairmen over there at Leadership Council, and I love going to all their networking events. It's always a blast, and I always have a good time, so I thought I'd give him a shout out today.
Awesome. Yeah, Kevin's been on the show. You brought him on, and we've had him on as a guest a couple times. So awesome. We'll give his event some love, and I think I've got it on my calendar already. So look forward to seeing folks out there. I do have something I want to mention as we were talking about downtown Frisco. Most people know that the Country Music Awards, or the ACM Awards, are coming to Frisco at the Star, Ford Center at the Star, May 16th, I believe it is. So yeah, 3 weeks from now, as a matter of fact, Thursday night, 7 p.m. The cool thing about that is, obviously that's a cool event. There's a lot of stuff going on to support that event around Frisco, namely in downtown Frisco at the NAC Theater, May 13th. So I believe that's a Monday. They've got a honky tonk. So it's a theater. They've got a stage. They're going to have live performances. Go on down to the NAC Theater, May 13th, 7 p.m. I think it starts. I'll have to confirm the time, but it's May 13th. Go on down there. I think it's $20 or $25 a ticket, and there's multiple performances or performers who will be doing live music there. So check that out. There's also other stuff going on Main Street as well during that week, leading up to the ACM Awards that are on the 16th. So that's what I have. Does anybody else have anything else going on? Julia?
Kerri does too. Kerri does.
Yep. Okay, good.
Yeah, we have, not this week, but we have a lot of events coming up this summer. We host a virtual art gallery online for kids to, not just kids, we have people of all ages. They create art, they submit it online, and we host it in our virtual art gallery to allow people to have an art gallery that inspires hope to look at year round. And it's totally free to enter the months of June and July. It's a great activity for kids when it's too hot to get outside. And then we also are hosting a summer art camp at our office in Plano. We've got 2 weeks that we're doing that. And then August is our 10-year anniversary, and we are hosting a giant celebration. We're going to have live music and food and wine and an art auction. Really excited about that.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations early on 10 years. That's awesome. Good stuff. Thank you for that, Julia. You've got something else to share?
I do. I forgot one event that is coming up, which I'm very, very excited about as well. It is at Frisco Rough Riders Stadium on Cinco de Mayo. So if you don't find yourself doing anything, come out. There will be a bunch of food trucks there as well. See, I tend to go where the food trucks are. But there are going to be food trucks and some rappers that you may know about. There is 2 Chainz, Travis Porter, DJ Scribble. There's going to be a lot of performances that are going to be going on, and we will be making an appearance, both me and my colleague Asmina as well, to kind of hang out with our local Frisco peeps and celebrate Cinco de Mayo at Tacos and Tequila.
That's fantastic. That's been getting a lot of buzz lately. We just met with the Rough Riders earlier this week. That came up in the discussion as one of the promotional items that they are doing. And then I literally heard it. I saw a couple of the guys who are either participating in the event yesterday, just randomly walking by. They mentioned it. So yeah, that's getting a lot of buzz. I'm glad you brought that up, Julia. It sounds like a really cool event. So I'd say what date is it, but come on, Cinco de Mayo, right?
Yeah.
It's actually on May 5th, right?
On May 5th, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Well, does anybody else have anything else? I mean, that's a lot for this week. If not, we'll wrap up the What's Up Frisco segment. So thank you guys for sharing those events. If you're looking for something to do, which is not very difficult to do in Frisco, those are some events that hopefully will stand out to you. All right, with that, guys, we're going to transition, and it's spotlight time. We get to put the spotlight on our guests, and this is my favorite section of every week. We get to know you guys, and that's the exciting part. So I'm going to let our co-host kind of lead this section and let you guys kind of go into your story and your path to how you got to what you're doing and more about your businesses. So with that, Debbie, I'm going to kick it over to you. I'll let you kind of lead the discussion from here. And then, so that'll be with Julia, and then we'll kick it over to Ethan and we can get into Kerri's story as well.
Okay, great. Well, meeting with Julia, she said earlier, she's like, this was not what she wanted with the pageant. But Julia, if you'll start even maybe sharing how you got transitioned from your incident when you were 18 and how it's led to why you wanted to do the pageant because of the foundation of how you wanted to help women and share what you had to deal with when you were 18 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 18 years old, I suffered a untreated and undiagnosed urinary tract infection, something that women everywhere deal with either daily, monthly, yearly. It's pretty common. And I had utilized an over-the-counter medication that claimed to control the infection and hinder the pain. It only did one of the two of those things, which was hinder the pain and none of the infection. So I found myself having a seizure at 4 o'clock in the morning about 2 weeks later, because again, I had no symptoms. It was just a regular day for me. I had gone to the gym that night. I was getting ready for work the next day, and suddenly I found myself in the ICU at Plano Presbyterian. So it happened very suddenly, and it was very traumatic. I was in the ICU for about a week and then on home health for the weeks following. It left me with a lifelong condition called neurocardiogenic syncope, which means my body produces more adrenaline, 3 times more than someone my age on average. And my body can no longer tolerate adrenaline very well. So that comes with passing out at the sudden startle or anything that can suddenly raise my adrenaline, which sports can do that. I mean, really anything can do that. So it left me with damage to my nervous system, as well as I am now immunocompromised, which this happened right before COVID. So it happened in June of 2019. I then found myself in the hospital again in March of 2020 with bacterial pneumonia because of COVID. So it has affected my life in several aspects. One being that this medication is still being sold on our market to this day. And I am currently right now working hand in hand with our FDA to remove it from the shelves because it's not an FDA approved medication. And what it is false advertising, and it's killing women daily. So when I originally got the offer to compete in my first pageant, it was something that I had to really think on because I am not a pageant girl. I have tattoos on my arms. I mean, I'm not a pageant girl. I love a lot of cheeseburgers and, like I said, tacos and tequila. I mean, it just wasn't what I had in mind for myself.
Food trucks and pageantry don't go together?
Don't, but in my ideal world, they do. But I got the offer to compete my first pageant because it was such a platform-based pageant. And I said, you know what? I've been advocating for this since before I started pageantry. This would give me the opportunity to reach women everywhere across the globe. I mean, the United States, you name it. So I gave it my best shot. It didn't go as I had planned. And at that moment I said, okay, well, maybe my journey is going to be led in a totally different way. Maybe this is me trying to get my toe wet in the world of advocacy. And then my lovely director currently reached out to me, as well as our current Mrs. America, and offered me a scholarship to go compete one more time for their system. So I had to give that one a really, really, really long thought, because I had just suffered what I had considered a loss for my last pageant. I got second runner-up and best interview, which is not a bad thing in pageantry. I had no coach. I mean, this was really a true accomplishment for me. But at that time, the wound was still pretty fresh. So I finally said, you know what? Okay, I'll give you one more shot. I'll give this one more shot, because I know 18-year-old me would have begged for anyone like 23-year-old me to just advocate for her. And I also need to understand that there are people who do not have a voice right now, because sepsis kills 350,000 adult people every year. And that's the leading number one cause of death in hospitals across America. It is a fact. You can Google it right now and fact check me. And it's not being talked about enough. It's not being talked about because a lot of people are dying from it. And so I said, you know what, pageantry, this is just going to be the way that I can reach women everywhere, get my message across, but also be a light and a voice for women everywhere, but also sepsis patients.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, Brian Decker, thanks for chiming in. He commented, Julia has an awesome story. It certainly does. I love the fact, one of your drivers there is, having and being a voice for those who may not have one, or at least a loud one, right? So you can be that loud voice doing what you're doing. I've got to ask a question. Obviously you've got you have an ongoing symptom or condition because of the sepsis that you went through. Any spike in adrenaline. So it's got to be pretty adrenaline inducing to be participating in a pageant.
Yes.
So how do you overcome that on the pass out factor? Like how do you overcome that? That's pretty.
Luckily, so it's actually been kind of a crazy story, maybe not so crazy for others, but for me, finding a medical professional that will take me seriously post sepsis is incredibly difficult. And my husband, who plays professional hockey, he has a trainer here locally who works with the Stars. And when he had come to him and said, my wife's having this problem, we don't know how to manage it. I was having these fainting, issues. And he said, let me get you in contact with my cardiologist, who has worked with me and some of my friends. And he was actually able to run a very, very serious amount of tests to kind of figure out what was going on, because at first I was diagnosed with something called POTS, which is very, very similar, but not the same. And it was tiring because I was like, I don't have any answers and nobody's taking me seriously. So finally we did this one test and we were able to figure out what was going on. And luckily we were able to find a medication. Now I do rely on that medication daily, and it is detrimental if I do miss that medication.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for sharing. And so you just threw out an interesting tidbit that I'm sure resonated with our other co-host, Ethan. So your husband is a professional hockey player, or is or was?
He is. Yeah, he is. He was actually, he just tore his ACL completely a couple weeks ago with a meniscus tear in hand. So right now he's recovering. He's recovering up in Cincinnati right now. So he plays for the New York Rangers farm team, Cincinnati Cyclones. So our life is a little bit crazy, but it's made our lives so interesting. But he has actually ultimately helped me so much with this journey as far as my health, because the connections that he has in the medical world has truly been such a lifesaver.
Well, that's awesome. So a little bit of background. Ethan has played hockey pretty much his entire life since he was born. He came out on skates. But yeah, no, he was a high-level hockey player here in the DFW area, and recently hung him up, except for beer league. But yeah, I'm sure he may have already known the trainer that you mentioned. Feel free to mention him by name. You guys can probably trade cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan, do you know Cosmo Clark?
I do know Cosmo Clark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cosmo
Works
Clark.
at the Plano rink.
Yep. He went to high school with my husband's dad, and he has been a very, very close family friend for for years. So that's awesome. It's such a small world. It's really
So I'll
Yeah.
add my name to the list of people that know Cosmo because he's trained my son as well. Ethan and my son played hockey together
that's
for
awesome.
several years on the same team. And but yeah, so Cosmo is very famous in the youth hockey and hockey world.
Definitely here at DFW.
For good reason.
Yep.
For good reason. He's
Yep.
good at what he does. And
He's got some great camps.
yeah, I mentioned one time in his presence that I loved leg day, and he made sure I left knowing I no longer loved leg day.
Yeah.
Well, and back onto what you were saying, Julia, I think Kerri, I think you had a question for Julia because something there resonated with you. So I'll let you take the question.
Oh, yes. I was just going to ask you if after this we could connect to find out about your cardiologist, because my daughter was diagnosed with POTS a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. I would love to give you his information.
Thank you.
He and his team are an incredible set of doctors. They have truly transformed my life. So I would absolutely love to share his information with you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so I have to pause and say, like, that's awesome that we, you never know what people have in common. And that's what the show is all about. It's connecting folks. And really what we're doing is networking and sharing about ourselves and learning about ourselves on a live stream podcast radio show. So love it. And we have these interactions very often, not about POTS in particular, but we have interactions like this, that people we randomly know other people in the same circles, and we have connections that we can make literally live on air. So love the fact that just happened, and love the fact that you guys can help each other out. So that's awesome. Okay. I'm stealing the thunder here as far as number of words being said. So I'm going to kick it over to Ethan. I want you, to interview Kerri and let her tell her story.
Yeah, absolutely. And to start off, food trucks and pageantry, we need to get that to be a Community Difference Frisco thing, featuring Ethan Donovan, Brian Poduska, and Landon Wilson. That needs to be an event.
We could get some T-shirts made. I mean, food trucks and pageantry alone with crowd attention,
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be a thing. I love that idea.
Agreed.
But my question for you, Kerri, is your story behind everything's really inspiring, and the mission you guys have is very close to my heart because I grew up and my mom had cancer. So I would really love to hear kind of how you got started with Little Hearts of Hope and how everything came to be.
Yeah, well, thank you. At the age of 33, my husband, I was 30, he was 33. He was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 6 months to live. Our kids were 2, 4, and 6 at that time. I had left the world of cardiac rehab and was a stay-at-home mom. He actually survived for 3 years with terminal cancer, which was wonderful and incredibly difficult at the same time. We were able to put our children into therapy during that first year, but as many people know, therapy is very cost restrictive. And when you are putting 3 kids into counseling once a week, it just adds up to be cost restrictive. All of that to say, about a year after his passing, he went home to be with the Lord on Christmas Eve of 2012. And I spent a year trying to figure out how am I going to provide for my family? What am I going to do? And I decided to spend a week praying and fasting and asking God to give me some direction. And during that time, I got this vision for this program. And so I brought it to my children's play therapist and the social worker that we had worked with in hospice that had worked with my children, and then their school counselor. And I said, hey, how can we help families who are going through this? Cancer is very expensive, even if you have insurance. How can we help people to go through this who can't afford therapy? And so we came up with these kits. We call them our Hope Kits. And each kit focuses on a different emotion that's common for kids who are watching a medical trauma in the home. So some of the things that we address are anger, abandonment, false guilt, which is really big for kids, jealousy, which is also one that surprises families until they start talking about it and realize their kids have been struggling with this. sadness, anxiety, all of those things. We are post-COVID in a mental health crisis to begin with. And then when you throw in cancer and you have immune compromised people who can't get out and socialize, you're dealing with isolation, kids who can't join birthday parties or go on vacations or sports teams because they can't risk bringing those germs back to the home for their immune compromised parent or sibling. So each of those kits contains one play therapy type activity and one art therapy type activity. And the families work on them together to learn, number one, healthy coping skills. Because what I hear from a lot of parents, even though this was designed for children, was how helpful that was for them to learn some healthy coping skills because no one had ever taught them. And number two, it opens lines of communication, helps them talk about really difficult things. Parents are really afraid to talk to their children about some of the things around cancer and dying and death. But it really teaches them how to have those conversations. And that builds trust and intimacy and strengthens families. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Oh, it's awesome.
Well, Kerri, that we've had some tearjerker stories on here before, but that is really moving. God works in wonderful ways. So that to hear how you started, it's heartbreaking, but it's also really inspiring. So thank you for sharing. How you came up with it, because at the end of the day, God does wonderful things, and what you're doing is wonderful.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to use my pain to help other people. It gives it purpose, and it helps in the healing process itself.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, great point.
Okay, so we're gonna take a commercial break, and I'm gonna cry, and then we're gonna come back and we'll talk about our business topic of the month. So with that, Lennon, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Are you searching for fast, reliable, and affordable heating and air solutions in the Wiley, Sac C, Murphy, Garland, Rowlett, Levon, Richardson, Plano, and Allen areas of Texas? Then look no further than Martin Heating and Air LLC. With over 15 years of experience, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch service tailored to your specific needs. Don't let a broken HVAC unit ruin your comfort. Call us today at 469-380-9864 or visit our website to schedule an appointment. Martin Heating and Air LLC, your trusted partner for all your heating and air conditioning needs.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Frisco Fighters prepare to reach new heights at Comerica Center this spring. From competitive matchups to exciting theme nights, you won't want to miss a second of the action. Join us and experience high-scoring, hard-hitting indoor football that's fun for the whole family to enjoy. Visit FriscoFighters.com for game highlights, tickets, or to reserve your spot at the Tarmac Tailgate Party. Frisco Fighters, fly with us.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
Okay, welcome back. You saw Paul Fisher there. He also chimed in earlier on the show. So I think Paul was giving a what's up to Kerri as a fellow Frisco Chamber member. So, yeah, there it is. Thanks for watching, Paul. Paul is also a co-host on the show, so he'll be on, I think it's next week. I got to check the schedule. But thanks for tuning in, Paul. Good to hear from you. All right, so let's circle back on some just wonderful causes and efforts that you guys are doing. Extremely inspirational. You guys are amazing. I mean, it's stories like this that really love to give you guys the ability to share it and love to hear it. So with that, Ethan, I want you to take the conversation from here and just help us understand how we can get more involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we have you ladies on here today, but I want to hear, how can me, Debbie, Brian, and everybody else watching, how can we act on what we're listening to today and really raise awareness for both your causes? Kerri, you can start first, of course.
Yeah, well, the American Cancer Society has predicted in 2024 that 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will face a cancer diagnosis in their life. So everybody knows somebody with cancer, and the rates of under 50 being diagnosed with cancer and continue to increase and have gotten significantly worse since COVID. We're seeing a lot of turbo cancers since COVID. And so for us, we have 2 needs. Number one is for the families who can use our services to find us. We're completely free and we serve our families for a year. Most cancer treatments last 2 to 3 years. And number 2, to find businesses and individuals who want to support the work that we're doing. We cannot do this work without funding for the work. So sharing our events so that people can become sponsors in our events or attend our events. And then raising awareness for what we do so that families who need us can find us and know about us.
It's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And Julia, how can we support your cause and really raise awareness, not even in the podcast, but outside as well?
Well, Ethan, hand in hand with the podcast, you guys are doing everything right now. This is allowing me a platform to talk about my story, to raise awareness, and give me a platform to not only call a light to the dangers of over-the-counter medications that are unregulated and unapproved by the FDA, but you're also allowing me to reach women, not just in pageantry, but in my local community as well. We do host networking events with both me and my partner as Miss and Mrs. Frisco to kind of share light on our story, reach women in our community, and also build a relationship, because outside of pageantry, this is a community, right? I am a woman in business, and I still want to reach fellow men and women, in business. So not only is this podcast allowing me the platform to do so, but sharing my posts or my stories with my charity that I partner with currently with Sepsis Alliance. Sepsis Alliance is the largest charity in the United States for sepsis, and they offer free resources for first responders, which is like modules and classes that they have access to. They also have education for post-sepsis education for patients and their loved ones who have lost, a loved one to sepsis. So just kind of, knowing what sepsis is, you're already starting, because on average, 34% of Americans don't know what sepsis is. So just knowing exactly what sepsis is a life-threatening reaction to an infection, any infection in your body, whether that's a common cold, the flu, COVID. There are cancer patients that do kind of deal with sepsis because of the PICC line that is inserted for chemotherapy. I myself was on a PICC line, which can easily get infected and readmit my body into a life-threatening infection again. So like I said, just knowing exactly what sepsis is and utilizing sepsis awarenesses resources, substance alliances resources, excuse me.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you both for sharing, and we'll continue to spread the word as much as we can, through the difference here, and this is exactly why we do this, right? So to give awareness to special causes and important causes to our local community. So thank you very much for that. What I want to do now, guys, is I mentioned up at the beginning of the show, at the top of the show, we do have a business topic of the month, right? And we're winding down April here, and we've had some really unique insights, some good insights on the topic of innovation and creativity in local businesses. So would love to get your opinions on or viewpoints on some just examples maybe of how you guys are utilizing either innovation in particular or getting creative with either growing a business or growing, in this case, your cause or your nonprofit. So I'll just kind of throw it out there. Julia, I'll throw it over to you first. You have a very unique, and first of all, I do want to hear more about your business too. So we've heard a lot about the pageantry and the cause. I want to know, more about what OneNeighbor is. So first of all, tell us more about that, and then on the second part of that, let's talk about any innovative things that you've implemented or are looking at implementing in the future.
Okay. So OneNeighbor is a home services platform that was created in 2019. It basically utilizes co-location and group purchasing. So when you are looking for a home service, whether that's lawn mowing, pool cleaning, house cleaning, if you're like me, you want to know who your neighbors are using. Who are you using? Who do you trust? And how do I get in contact with them? And how much do they charge? Instead of having to go through the vetting process, OneNeighbor as a platform, we do that for you. So we find local providers in your area who would like to service both you and your neighbors. And the more that your neighbors sign up, the lower that your cost drops. So let's say that you're starting at a biweekly cost for lawn mowing at $35.99, but Sam and Sally next door decide to sign up, and that drops your rate down to $32.99. And their neighbors sign up, and that's $31.99. And so you're also saving your vendors a ton of money in costs for traveling and trying to market themselves to their own clientele. They don't have to do any of that. They just come to us. We take a very, very, very small percentage of that just to connect them with the customer, to support our platform. And they're not having to drive from Allen to Dallas and back to Allen again and that kind of thing. So they're servicing 30, 40 people in one day just in one neighborhood alone. So it helps our economy by keeping neighbors close, but also keeping our costs low.
Okay. I own a property management company, and we have vendor management challenges every single day. So do you work with property managers?
We do not work with property managers at the moment. We did have a few contracts with HOAs across Frisco, McKinney, and that sort of thing. It did help a lot, but we typically try and work with just the homeowner because it can get a little bit more complicated when we do larger contracts with HOAs. We do love what we do and we want to keep expanding, but with vendor management, we do have our own department for that. So we have someone who is in constant contact with those providers every single second of every day. So it kind of creates less of a middleman between property managers and the homeowner and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we may have to have a little sidebar to talk about opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, here we are doing business on the podcast.
Community Difference.
Yeah. There we go. We are making the difference.
Yeah.
We are difference makers, as we call ourselves. Awesome. Well, okay. So there's part one. Now, first of all, I will say, so thank you for sharing more about OneNeighbor. So that was question number one. Now, question number two is related to innovation or anything creative that you guys are doing. So first of all, you're not going to get out that easy because number one, that is a pretty innovative and creative service in and of itself. But I want to learn how you guys have any, or if you have any innovation that you guys use, because that's a challenge. I mean, we do a microcosm of that. So we're not across the entire community. We're across our portfolio of properties that we manage and maintain. Right. So I can only imagine if you're talking across multiple communities, what that, all the communication points and everything that must be managed. So tell us how you innovatively or creatively manage all that.
Absolutely. So we're actually in 2 states right now. We're working on our 3rd, which I can't mention just yet, but we are in Texas and in Florida. So of course, we're in over 100 different neighborhoods in Texas, 100 different cities in Texas. I mean, there are a lot of people and a lot of communication that's flowing in there. I think what right now our communities need, whether that's Texas, Florida, or any other state, is when you're relying on a company, you're also relying on the person on the other side of that screen, because everything is so digital these days. When I'm reaching out for, let's say, customer service, because this is my department, I'm the head of customer success. You know, this is my niche. I'm in project management. I love talking to people. It's my thing. But when I reach out to companies and there's not a warmer person on the other side, it really kind of just not makes me more sad, but I don't want to do business with someone like that, you know? And I think what's different between our platform and platforms like it is we are kind of just the friend next door. We are your local friendly neighbor who's trying to help you get your services at a frequency, because like, let's say Angie's List is typically just a one-time service, whereas OneNeighbor is typically on a frequency, or if you want to do a quick one-time service, you can expedite it. You know, we do everything digitally. You're not having to text your provider and say, hey, where are you at? You can see everything in your app, when they're coming, who's coming, and when your next service is. Do you want to skip a service? Great. We can take care of that for you. You shoot us a quick message to the platform. I'm usually on the other side of it because, like I said, we were a startup a few years ago. So I'm usually on the other side of it, just trying to help be a warm, friendly neighbor to my community, because it really is the fine line between keeping business and staying in business. So, like I said, being innovative in a community where we're in such a mental health crisis, and a community or an economy that's struggling so difficultly right now, you know, you need to have empathy in your business. If someone just lost their job, and let's say your business has a contract, you have a 3-service minimum. I just lost my job. I can't make the 3-service minimum. You know what? That's fine. Come back to us when you've got a steady line of income. We'll waive that contract for you. Guess what? They come back 6 months later. Hey, what you did for me was such a lifesaver. I'd like to give you business for the next 1.5 years, 2 years that I'm in this home. I mean, in order to stay and keep business, it's being in the mind of the homeowner and the customer, and also, just like I said, being a warm and friendly person.
I think that's so important, because you did use that word of how many people do lose their jobs. So having a company that understands that life happens is wonderful. I commend you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that, you know, some companies they get so tunnel vision for, you know, trying to make money and keep the money and you know, survive in such a struggling economy, especially as a startup, right? But if right off the bat, you know, we're like, this isn't our policy and we can't move it around, then, you know, that left a bad taste in that person's mouth moving forward. But if I'm able to give them empathy and say, you know what, I understand that you just lost your job, or, you know, your father or mother just died and now you're taking over the account and you didn't sign up for any of this. We will handle it. And if you decide to change your mind, or you move to a different address and keep us in mind, then we'll take over for you and we'll be able to help you set up your own account. I mean, like I said, it's creating that connection and trying to be a structure of support for your communities, because I mean, lawn mowing service and pool cleaning and home cleaning, those are things that are going to happen for generations to come. So those things are not going out of business anytime soon. But in order to keep it afloat in a struggling economy, you have to provide that extra, you know, little bit of difference that companies that, you know, not all companies can provide, because it's more corporate America and a lot of other big box companies than, you know, trying to keep a startup afloat. And once you start on that uphill of being successful, maintaining that.
Yeah, I love the personal touch aspect. So putting a warm voice and somebody who, you know, you can actually speak to behind the services that are absolutely needed, right? So you're exactly right. AI and technology isn't going to remove the need for you to get your grass cut, and your computer can't go out there and cut your grass. Although, no, I mean,
even though I wish it could. I'm
looking forward to the day that they invent a lawnmower that literally doesn't need any supervision whatsoever. So when that happens, that may put you guys out of business, but I think you're safe.
I'll be impressed when they come up with a AI pool cleaner or, you know, weed and feed type of thing, because that's not aeration, not my thing. Lawn mowing, not my thing yet. So.
Yeah. Sign me up for that, because you're looking at the AI version right now.
Yeah. So when we host like these networking events and I'm representing Frisco, but I'm also representing a business that I've started or that I've helped start, because I originally came on when there were originally 3 co-founders already. So I came on in the very, very, very early, baby steps of it. But I'm able to represent my community and also say, and it, you know what, it's actually so funny because I was at a networking event that my best friend was hosting. This was in January. And I'm telling my story just about sepsis, how I got into Frisco and my job and everything. And a woman in the crowd says, I use OneNeighbor. And I said, this is full circle. But I said, well, and I said, you're probably always talking to me because I like to be in touch with the homeowners and everyone that's using our platform. Because like I said, I'm representing our company. I'm the face of our company. And if it's not a warm, kind person, especially someone with a crown, I mean, that's so fun. Like, I never thought that I'd be in the tech industry and also wearing a crown at the same time. But it's not only inspiring to young women because you can do it all. You can do it all. And it's created an amazing platform for me. And I love it. I love every second of it.
Awesome. And hey, what better testimonial to have somebody at a networking event just randomly say, hey, we already use your services. That's pretty cool.
I know. And like I said, I did not plant her. I did not plant her. Right. On her own. She is not a paid actor.
No, that's awesome. Hey, guys, we have to take a quick commercial break. Kerri, I want to come back to you on the topic. I mean, there's got to be some innovation in the multiple things that you have your hands in right now. So we'll do that on the backside of the commercial break. But right now, Lennon, go ahead and hit it.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media, LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now, back to the show.
Okay, welcome back. Love that spot, and that reminds me, because we were getting a little reflective before we kicked off this show. Lyndon and I were talking about, the inception of the Difference and the progress that we've made with the Community Difference shows, whether it be Frisco, Rockwall, Plano, Wiley. Those are all the active ones going on right now. We're going to relaunch Denton here pretty soon. Got a few others in the hopper. So we're just looking at some of the numbers, right? We've done 134 episodes across all the communities. We're on episode 21 here in Frisco. So viewership on that, over 500,000 views across those 134 shows. And that's only counting Facebook. That's not including many of the other large venues like YouTube, LinkedIn, there's 20 plus different streaming websites that it goes to, or streaming podcasting sites that it goes to after we're live. So I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So exciting to hear that. It was pretty cool to reflect on that, and then dive a little bit deeper into the numbers. And we're excited as we bring these shows to different communities. Really, that's what it is. We're grassroots. We're in the community, and we're spotlighting leaders in the community, inspiring leaders. You guys are perfect examples. You ladies are perfect examples of this. So with that, I want to come back and bring us back in, but I love reflecting and because we've been doing this for 4+ years. So to hear those numbers earlier in the show kind of stuck with me. Wanted to share that with the audience. But with that, let's circle back on the topic of innovation and creativity. Kerri, I'd like to remind folks, right? So you've got your hands, obviously the founder of Little Hearts of Hope. Thank you for sharing how you started that. Really inspirational. But you're also, you mentioned at the top of the show, you've got your hands in a few different things and a couple other projects going on. So talk about those again. And then also, if you've got some innovative things that anything to save an hour or a minute or two here and there has to be very, very valuable to you, given how many activities you're involved in. So I'll let you go ahead and take it from here.
Thank you. So the King Cake Lady of Frisco, I love to bake. It's one of my healthy coping skills. And being from New Orleans, I miss the food, particularly around Mardi Gras. I really missed king cakes. And so I started throwing some block parties and making either gumbo or red beans and rice or jambalaya and a king cake. And my neighbors were all like, you have to sell these. These are so amazing. I didn't know king cakes tasted good because they'd only gotten the dry ones from the grocery store. So I started a little cottage bakery and I do gourmet king cakes now. The children's book really came from a place of when my children were young and grieving. The book is about grief and how to talk to kids about grief and how our pain will have a purpose if we allow God to use it. And so I've just been working with an artist and an editor to get that up and running. But the thing that came to my mind in regards to creativity and innovation in the business world is the opportunity that I've had in the nonprofit world. I saw how important nonprofits were in the community. I had no nonprofit experience before I started this back in 2014. And I just saw how much stronger nonprofits make their communities. And because I have such a heart for children, I work with children every day. I started trying to find ways to get kids involved in the nonprofit. There are so many families who are looking for ways to teach kids how to give back. And a lot of organizations have age restrictions and don't allow young children to serve. And so I thought it would be a really fun idea is to find different ways to get kids involved so that, number one, they see how easy it is to give back. And then number two, they see how good it feels to give back. And I believe that will create adults who want to give back to their community as they get older. And that just makes our communities stronger in the long run when we have people who want to serve and give back. So we work with students. We give them service hours. We teach them how to create flyers and do some marketing stuff to host supply drives for us. We also have students who do artwork for us, and we use those at our fundraisers as part of our auctions. So for me, the creativity comes in finding ways to get kids involved in serving the community so they become adults who want to do that as well.
Awesome.
I love that. That's truly, paying it forward, planting a seed and cultivating it, throughout the child's life. That's awesome. Love that.
It's beautiful.
I mentioned earlier, we've had a lot of, good insights and unique insights. That may be one of the most unique strategies yet that we've heard. That's awesome. So thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. Let's see. I had something on my mind. Okay. I'm just reading the notes here on my right. I know what I wanted to talk to you about. So being from New Orleans and missing the New Orleans food.
Yeah.
So some of our neighbors, they were displaced by Katrina as well. So they've been here for a while. Love Dallas, have kids that are roughly the same age as ours. And one of the favorite things that I love about their New Orleans heritage is they do a crawfish boil every year. Do you guys do the same thing?
We do crawfish boils, crab boils, shrimp boils.
Okay, all right. I figured the answer was yes.
Yeah. Can we get an invite next time, Kerri? Come on.
Brian, I think we need to get a calendar set up in the Community Difference Frisco Facebook group so we know when we're all being fed.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have an underlying theme of this show about food, and we have a unique eclectic food choice, and between New Orleans and food trucks, like this is fabulous.
I love food. Always brings people together.
It does.
You're never going to go wrong with food.
Yeah, food be a hobby. I'm just curious because if I can.
Let's go. It qualifies as a hobby in my mind, so I'm down with that.
Great. That's all to hear.
So, with being a crawfish boil expert, do you have a favorite event or favorite place that does the crawfish?
My dad's backyard.
Okay. I'm originally from Chicago, so I had never heard of such a thing when I moved down here 12 years ago. So I was, I guess, introduced to it by our neighbors, and then I was taught, like, all right, here's how you actually consume one. I'm like, that's the most disgusting freaking thing that I've ever seen. And then I tried it. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm hooked. I like it.
But I think it really. No, go ahead, Kerri. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you got to get past just that initial, this is really what you want me to do. And once you taste it, it's amazing. And you always want to do that.
That's freaking gross. Like, no thanks.
But I think it really does. It does come back to the way you cook, the right cook, because I've had one that was just like tasting sand versus another one that, okay, this is what it's supposed to taste like. So it is super, super important.
Yeah.
The way that the right person cooking the right time.
Well, I will add on that next week is my first crawfish boiler in 2 weeks, so it's gonna be a first time for me, and so I'm a little scared. My girlfriend loves it, but I'm a little scared.
Okay, Ethan, I'm going to tell you, if there's seasoning on the outside of the shell, it's not going to be good crawfish.
Okay.
Also, don't wear anything white. Anything white at all.
Don't wear contacts either. If you have to take your contacts out,
keep your hands away from your face.
Yes, that is a key point. And Ethan, just remember, like, you have to challenge yourself, step out of your comfort zone. There's no such thing as growth if you're not uncomfortable. So, it may sound gross, but they're really damn good.
Close your eyes and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, does anybody else have any other thoughts that they want to share on the topic of innovation, creativity? I don't want to cut us short, but I'm looking at our clock here, and we've got enough time to do our rapid fire section. But if anybody has any last thoughts on innovation or creativity, we'd love to hear. So I'll throw it out.
I just want to even share that even just this year, I just think even this show and this platform, to me, has been very innovative and creative. It's really changed a lot of my thinking, and it really has. I've enjoyed it so much of getting to meet people in a way that I never would. I probably never would have met Julia, honestly, but now that I met her, she's younger than my kids, but I'm going to adopt her, because I just think she has such a great thing and a great message. And everyone that I've met through this show has just been awesome. And so I just think even what we're doing with the community difference is very innovative and very creative, and will continue to just build different relationships that we probably never would have had. So.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
That's a spot on point there, Debbie. And, I'll give all the credit to Lyndon Wilson, our creative founder here behind the scenes.
Most definitely.
My personal story is I had never met Lyndon before. We had mutual friends or have mutual friends that, he said, hey, he told Lyndon, go reach out to Brian. He may be interested in doing something. I was in the infancy of my business, my property management business, and Lyndon and I never had met before, kind of hit it off in our original meeting. And I just I loved his personality, but the concept that he was bringing forward was exactly that: innovative, creative, something different. You hit it on the nail on the head, Debbie. I don't get to meet you guys if we're not doing this, right? And I think this has been one of our best shows ever. The messages that you guys have, the stories that you guys have, is to got you where you're going. Like that brings, like, the hair on my arms is standing up right now, because it makes me excited to know that this is something innovative and new, and it's creative. But I get passionate about it because it's really a cool venue. So Debbie, thank you for mentioning that. Big props to Lyndon for creating this, and
Yes.
To all you guys, thank you to our co-hosts and our guests for allowing us to carry it on and bring it to something bigger and better. So I'll get off my soapbox with that comment. We'll come back after we have one more commercial break we have to do, and we have rapid fire coming up after that. So buckle up and get ready. We'll see you here in a minute.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus; Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending; Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers; Kendra Kennedy with Stewart Title; Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency; Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage; Chance Post with Total Care ER and Total Care Networking; Matt England, Director of Corporate Partnerships, and Andre Coles, head coach of the Frisco Fighters Arena football team; and by Bethany Rowan, Realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready? Rapid fire.
All right, it's time. Rapid fire. Wanted to give a quick shout out to Bethany Rowan. You saw her commercial there. She is our newest co-host, so I'm looking forward to having Bethany. She's going to be a guest on the show first, and then be a co-host going on forward after that. So excited to have her on board. Also, I've got my Frisco Fighter football here, one of our sponsors, and they were awesome enough to give us a football, much to Lyndon's chagrin, because we were throwing the football on the field, which everybody can do. They can go down on the field at a Frisco Fighter game afterward. They can throw the football around. More importantly, they can meet the players, meet the coaches. Coach Andre Coles is one of our co-hosts. They were awesome enough to give us the ball, and Lyndon darn near threw his arm out, but you have to know that he didn't tear anything, and all his soreness is gone now. But with that, we're going to start rapid fire here. I'm going to ask a question, either one-word answer, two-word answer, but not like a 50-word answer, or else you're going to get the buzzer. That is the buzzer. Lyndon has the ability to do that buzzer, so I'm washing my hands of that. First question on the board, since we have talked about food, it's going to be a food-related question, not in a good way. What is the one food that you're going to eat, or that you see even, that's going to make you gag? Julia, we're going to start with you, since you're to my right on the screen. What is the one food that will make you gag?
A radish. A radish.
Radish. Good one. Like it. That's unique. Ethan.
Mustard. Can't stand it.
Mustard. That's right. We've heard that one from you before. We're going to make you come up with something different next time. Debbie, what about you?
Peas. Just the smell.
Okay. I like it. Kerri?
Hot dogs.
Really?
Wow.
Hot dogs, even as a kid.
Wow.
You may not be welcome back on the show. For me, it's oysters. Not a fan. Lyndon, what about you?
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Okay, I like it. Okay, next question. This is an easy one. Softball question for you. Yes or no answer. Is your bed currently made? I'll go reverse order. Kerri.
Yes.
Debbie.
No.
Ethan.
No.
Julia.
No.
Mine is yes. Len and tiebreaker, or to bring us even? Yes or no?
Mine is made. Yes.
Okay, good. We're
Wow.
50-50 on that then. Okay, next question. Burning building. You need a superhero to come save you from that burning building. Who's it going to be? Julia, start with you.
Oh, probably Catwoman. I don't know. She's just someone I'd like to see if I don't make it out.
Oh, I like that.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman it is. Debbie.
Thor.
Oh, yeah.
Thor? Okay, I like it.
Yep.
Kerri, what about you?
The Man of Steel. I got to go with my last name. Superman.
Superman, the Man of Steel. Love it. I'm going with Deadpool because if I'm going to die, I'm going to die laughing.
That's good.
That's mine. All right. Next one. Mountains, beach, or sea? Debbie, we'll start with you.
Beach.
Ethan.
I'll go beach too.
Okay. Julia.
I'm going to go different and say beach.
Thanks for mixing it up. What about you, Kerri?
Absolutely beach.
Man, we're all beach. I'm mountains. Lennon, I think
Mountains.
I know your answer.
Yeah,
I'm mountains.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I
beach
like
it is today. Apparently. Okay. Since we live in Frisco and there's about 1 million places to eat, what is your go-to food place? And Julia, you've already said one. I'm going to make you choose a different one.
Oh, I can't do that.
Sorry, but there's so many places you got to choose something different. I'll let you go last, though.
Yeah,
Kerri,
yeah.
I'll start with you.
Me, bluefin. It's my new favorite.
Bluefin, okay.
Sushi.
Kerri?
Sushi.
I like Best Thai on Main Street.
Okay, cool. I like it. Ethan?
It's usually Babes, but this time I'm going to go Piatta's. It's an Italian street food like Chipotle, but for Italian food. Really good.
Okay, I like it. Julia, did you come up with an alternative?
I did. Yeah, I'm going to go with Cheetos on Main Street.
Cheetos, okay.
This is really good.
I've not been there yet. I'm going to have to add that to my list.
It's
I'm going to go with Tender Barbecue. A lot of good barbecue places. Love their breakfast over there.
Yes.
I love the fact that they're open for breakfast.
Yeah.
Landon, do you have a favorite?
Rockin' Taco Bar. I'm going to give him a shout out. He's been on our show before, and that's pretty good too.
Yep. Corley's Joint, Rockin' Taco. I like it. Okay. I think we're coming up to our last question here as I'm looking at my clock. This one's a fun one. I don't care how much you don't like to do karaoke. You got a karaoke gun to your head, have to sing it. What's your go-to song? Julia, you first.
Toxic by Britney Spears.
All right. That was quick. I love it. Sounds like you might have performed that in the past.
I can't confirm or deny.
Okay, fair enough. Ethan.
Probably Oklahoma Smoke Show by Zach Bryan.
Okay, I like it. Debbie?
Wind Beneath My Wings.
Oh, look at you. Okay. And Debbie has some singing talent for those who don't know. So, all right, Kerri, what about you?
Probably any Elton John song. I think I know all the words to Tiny Dancer, but Elton John would be my go-to.
Okay. I'm not in hip hop mood this week. I've done that in the past. I'm going to go with, hi, Melissa. What's up? Thanks for saying hello. Good to hear from you. I'm going to go with Piano Man, kind of a classic karaoke song. I'll go with that this week. Lennon, you got one for the week?
Amarillo by Morning, George Strait.
Okay, I like it. All right, well, that will wrap up our rapid fire segment. Always fun to hear the answers. Always one of my favorite segments of the show. Good way to wrap it up, too. We are almost out of time. What I'd like to do is go around the horn. I'd like our guests to just remind everybody who you are, what you do, and how to get a hold of you. Kerri, let's start with you. Go ahead and let the audience know.
Yeah, Kerri Steele, founder and executive director of Little Hearts of Hope. You can go to our website, littleheartsofhope.org, and you can find any way possible to receive help or to give help.
Awesome. Thank you, Kerri. Julia, how about you?
My name is Julia Fraser. I'm our current Mrs. Frisco America, and you can find me on Instagram at Mrs. J. Fraz. Please continue to find me on Instagram and support Sepsis Alliance and my upcoming pageant on May 2nd in Corsicana. You can also find me through LinkedIn at my name, Julia Fraser. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Julia. Debbie, go ahead and remind everybody who you are.
Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers. You can find me on Facebook under Debbie Watson, my page, Fostering Financial Literacy, or give me a shout out on my phone number.
Thank you. And Ethan, remind everybody who you are.
Absolutely. Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency. We do social media marketing, graphic design, videography, video editing. We also offer free consulting calls, so just reach out to me at donovancreativeagency.com. Go to the Contact Us page.
Thank you, sir. And of course, I'm the host of the Frisco Community Difference. My name is Brian Poduska. I own Real Property Management Focus, where we focus on your real estate investments so you don't have to. We can be reached at www.realpmfocus.com. And with that, guys, we are at the end of the show. This has been one of the best shows I can recall. Just fabulous guests. So thank you, Debbie and Ethan, for lining these really amazing ladies up. So it was a pleasure to meet you both today. And again, we're doing this as, putting the spotlight on you, but we also get, as part of that, we get to meet you guys, which was a great meeting this week. So thank you very much for being our guests today. Debbie and Ethan, thank you again for co-hosting today. Appreciate all your time. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. We'll be back next Thursday, same time, 2:30 p.m. Until then, we'll see y'all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus; Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending; Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers; Kendra Kennedy with Stewart Title; Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency; Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage; Chance Post with Total Care ER and Total Care Networking; Matt England, Director of Corporate Partnerships, and Andre Coles, head coach of the Frisco Fighters Arena football team. And by Bethany Rowan, Realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference.